Welcome back to Stand Up for the Week. Are you ready for some more comedy? Here with all the news from Middle England, please welcome Simon Evans.
Thank you. Very nice to be here. How the devil are you? You well? Children, kids are in fact what I want to speak about this evening, and in particular a phenomenon which is troubling Middle England called boomerang kids, boomerang children. The reason children are like boomerangs in this particular instance is that they are returning to home. They are coming back to you when you think you've got shot at them. No matter how hard you chuck them out, they keep coming back, even at the age of 20 or 25 or 30. It is, for those of us who have young children, an horrific prospect. I have two children. My little Hansel and Gretel are 6 and 9, so they're not so much boomerang kids as yo-yo kids at the moment. They return every bloody night. Regardless of the circuitous route I take into school every morning, they seem to find their way home again, and it's tiresome, but I'm legally obliged to house them for the time being. But the fact is, we only have ourselves to blame. We have made life too easy for these people. I remember, back in the Victorian era, I say I remember, you know, I've read books. In the Victorian era, it was widely understood across all classes, children are a nuisance until they are a resource. So if you had money in the Victorian era, your children were sent away to be educated. They were sent as far away as possible, some drafty boarding school in Yorkshire. You barely saw, you weren't formally introduced to your son until he was at least 12 years of age, could carry on a decent conversation about foreign policy at the dinner table instead of endlessly informing you as to whether or not you like fucking peas on this occasion. It's ridiculous. It's not what I call small talk. Meanwhile, if you did not have money, they were sent up a chimney, much as they are today in China, which thrives as a result. It's no coincidence. I blame the politicians, you will not be surprised to learn. Ed Miliband was on Desert Island Discs this week. The thing that annoyed me, he started off by saying the most important thing to him was his family. He said, my family mean everything to me. It's the most important thing in my life. Well, perhaps if you genuinely want to be a soccer dad, go ahead, but perhaps you should be looking for a job a little less likely to compromise that commitment than Prime fucking Minister. I'm sorry. There's room for one thing or the other. Maybe try yoga teacher or chairman of the Co-op Bank. They seem to have a fairly flexible approach to work-life balance. You've got to be serious about these things. I'll be honest with you, I preferred Margaret Thatcher, who famously said, I don't give a fuck about my kids, my political ambitions come first. She didn't obviously say it out loud, but I think you only have to look at Mark Thatcher to understand that she was saying it in her head every time she went anywhere near the little bastard, and I respect that. I wish he was a one-off freak, but the fact is Ed Miliband is representative of what is happening to our country now, because we've all just turned into people who just want everything to be this big, fluffy, cuddly, safe, soft play centre forever. It's pathetic. We all want to flop on our sofa with our bestie, watching Towie and our onesie and drinking our smoothies. Every word we use now is some pathetic, dribbly version of a real word made palatable to children by putting E on the end of it. Even my own wife, I promise you, has started complaining that the shops today were super busy or a coat was super expensive. I'm sorry, I would rather you describe that coat as fucking expensive in front of the kids than super expensive in front of me. Use adult language. It's true, though. Even packaging now talks to me as if it's my best mate. Have you noticed this? Smoothie cartons, these are the worst. I'm full of fruity goodness. No bad stuff at all, I promise, or you can tell my mummy. I'm a thirsty adult. I'm not a child that just fell over in a playground and grazed its knee. I don't need consoling. I want to drink you. I am going to consume you and bin the container. That's it. We're not going to hang out. You're not my mate, okay? The only drink that's allowed to talk to me is a bottle of whiskey, and even then only after I've drunk the first half, all right? One man in the entire United Kingdom, as far as I'm concerned, is setting a decent example in the public life at the moment, and that, surprisingly enough, is Prince Harry. Yeah. who is currently in the Antarctic, mounting a challenge on the South Pole, leading a group of men who were wounded in active service. He's raising money for charity, and he's taking on the Antarctic, which, to be honest, is an uncomfortable environment for anyone, especially someone whose main recreational habit is playing naked billiards. So fair play to him, I say. But what I particularly like about Prince Harry going to the Antarctic is that his brother, the heir to the throne, Prince William, has expressed envy for Harry because he wishes he too could get away from his fucking screaming infant of a son. He said as much. He may not have used the F word, but you could see it in his eyes, believe me. He's the only person left willing to speak the truth, and I think it's about time we were all boomerang kids and went straight back into the warm embrace of absolute monarchy. The House of Windsor, I tell you, that's where our future lies. You thought they were all over, but they're built to last, the House of Windsor. German engineering with British trim. You can't beat it. Thanks very much. Take care. Have a good weekend. Okay,
Simon Evans. Are you ready for your next act?